80 knots. Check. V1, rotate.
Some of us want to be a pilot, a doctor, a lawyer,
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
or an agent. It's seemingly impossible to be all at once in a single lifetime, but that's not the case for a conman like Frank William Abagnale Jr., who before his 18th birthday became the most successful bank robber in the history of the US. His story was featured in the biographical film entitled Catch Me If You Can.
Catch me if you can.
No, not you, girls' generation. Ah, yes. So the film was from way back 2002, directed and produced by the richest and the most famous Steven Spielberg, and for the cherry on top, it stars Leonardo DiCaprio as Frank and Tom Hanks as Carl Henry, the FBI agent who tracks him down to bring him to justice, but he always ends up one step ahead. The story starts with a teenage Frank living a normal life with his father, Frank Abagnale Sr., and her French mother Paula. Eventually, his father's business goes bankrupt due to tax problems, they get poorer, his mother begins an affair, his parents divorce, and so he drops school and runs away. He needs money, so he impersonates an airline co-pilot and forges Pan Am payroll checks. He becomes an instant millionaire.
Are you my deadhead?
He then quits his job when Henry tracks him down and starts to be a doctor by taking a Harvard diploma and watching videos on surgery. Yes, Frank, online classes. He falls in love with a naive nurse, Brenda. Brenda's father is an attorney, so he tries to be a lawyer too. He takes the state bar exam, and surprisingly, he passes the exam. Wanna know how? Henry wants to know either.
I'm gonna figure it out sooner or later.
They get married, and Henry corners him in his wedding reception. He escapes alone to France, and yet a persistent Henry manages to arrest him there. On their flight back to the US, he escapes again from the plane through the engines. Yeah, it's a real-life story. But he then surrenders after seeing his mother with her new happy family. And at last, he serves some years in prison, but then Henry asks him if he wants to work instead for the FBI and use his skills for the good by catching other check forgers and fraudsters. He agrees, but then finds the work tedious and restrictive, and he misses his former life. And so the main moral dilemma comes all the way to the concluding part of the film, where Frank attempts to fly again as an airline pilot, but is intercepted by Henry, who wants Frank to return to the FBI on Monday, and assures Frank that no one is chasing him. An ethical dilemma is a moral situation whereby a person must choose between two undesirable options. Would he go back to his former spontaneous living as a con man, or would he start to change for the better and be against con men? But of course, it's a really good ending because Frank shows up next Monday and he joins the discussion of their next case. Frank's actions are moral actions because these are voluntary and deliberate. They satisfy the essential elements of a human act, namely knowledge, voluntariness, freedom, and add to that his intent. He gets what he desires by fraudulently placing himself in positions of authority. He willfully impersonated many different people in various servicing capacity to appear successful in life. After all, what's running in his mind is, why is it wrong to lie and deceive people to give myself a better life? He was morally aware of the beneficial outcomes for himself from his actions. Frank has a strong attachment to his father, especially that he's been keeping to himself before that his mother starts an affair with another man. His father is his best friend. He's the first to teach him simple tricks to win over society and get what they want,
Marcy,
but not to the point of
this yours?
impersonation.
Marcy, did you drop this?
There is also more than one scene where his father was questioned by Henry about his whereabouts, but his father chooses to stay silent and covers up for his son. This would be another moral dilemma in Frank Sr.'s point of view, in which although he is against the evil actions of his son, he considers his obligation as a father to protect his son at all costs. At first, Frank was driven to his actions by his urge to resolve family issues by himself. He offers to give his wealth to his father just so his mother would think about returning in the presence of a comfortable life. That's why when he sees his mother with a new daughter, living a happy life with her new husband, he thinks it's game over, and he finally surrenders by himself. Ethically speaking, Frank's moral actions are revolving around the moral theory, egoism. Egoism states that the motivation and the goal of one's own action is to maximize self-interest. In Frank's case, it is obvious that his deceit and lies in gaining personal fulfillment in life is an egoism, in that he does not bother the implications experienced by other people as long as he achieves what he wants. What if the plane crashes and he needs to step up as a co-pilot? During his time as a doctor, a patient needed surgery and he panics and passes the responsibility to his interns.
Dr. Harris,
Yes?
do you concur?
Concur with what, sir?
Clearly, he doesn't consider the dangers coming from posing as a professional. Also, his goal to resolve his parents' relationship issue is also with his own winning. He's just a teenage kid who wants to have a complete family and a normal life. What about his redemption at the end, where he finally chooses to get a decent job and go against his own crimes? Was he promoting good ethics for the society? Or was he trying to forgive himself and preventing a relapse from going back his past life? Egoists will say it's the latter, because staying, after all, is more appealing in developing a good character. As for his father's refusal to surrender him to the police, egoism still runs since Frank Sr. can't give up his son's love and trust for him, and he doesn't want to appear as a bad father who betrays his own son who is eagerly helping him. But of course, his moral obligation as a father is to lead his son to the right path, but he still chooses not to. His actions are a separate view for opposing moralities in the film, and this will be a talk for normative ethics next time. And that's it for the ethical review of Catch Me If You Can. Thanks for watching.
What qualifies me to be a future stewardess?
Well, I think that I'm really friendly and I can really help out and make people feel welcome on the plane. And
We'll be traveling at 6,000 miles per hour at an altitude of 300 feet. All my bags are packed. I'm ready to go.
Eileen Anderson. Miggy Acker. Deborah Jo McMillan. Candy Heskin.
Come fly with me, let's fly.